1, 2, 3.
Hello. You didn't say it.
I know. I'm sorry. I got nervous.
Hello.
Okay. So this week, Rosalia is turning 3 months, and we just want to make a little video tracking her development so we can all look back and just remember when she was a newborn. All right, so I have some questions, and you're just going to answer them, and I'll answer them if you don't cover it all.
Okay.
So, and a lot of them are opinion-based, but yeah, we'll just go with it.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
What do you remember most about her first day?
When she was first born, getting to hold her for the first time and like crying and...
Who was crying? You or her?
All three of us, to be honest. I remember just getting to hold her and like see her for the first time, and you know, it was like all of this pressure that was just finally released because we've been waiting 9 months to meet her, and like finally we got to.
I remember she was very like sleepy. She slept all the time, and we couldn't get her to eat, and yeah, she basically just slept the whole time.
Yeah.
But she was really sweet. She's a little chunker.
Yeah.
So, what were your first impressions of her personality?
Well, at first I thought she was a little, I don't even know how to say this. Like you would try and get her to do something like take a bottle when she was trying to go to sleep, and she knew you were trying to, and she would like get his face. It's like, haha, I'm gonna go to sleep instead. Like almost like a little stubborn butt, you know. Like, and you know, she wasn't really smiling at that point because she was so little, but it kind of looked like she was just
Smirking.
like, smirking and like, haha, gotcha.
Yeah.
But you know, since then she's gotten more like wiggly, and she's been really moving a lot, very curious, and she's just interested about everything, everywhere, at all the time. And a lot of times she won't go to sleep because she's just so interested in the wall that's right behind us.
Yeah, she's a very curious baby. She will stare at a blank beige wall. Like, she doesn't care. She just wants to take everything in and see everything. I think when I was pregnant with her, I expected her to be a very cuddly, snuggly baby because she would literally like curl up and like like stay in one side of my uterus. Like, she wasn't like, I don't know, I expected her to be in the middle, but she would like cram herself into a little corner. And so I knew she'd be so cuddly, and she really was at first. She wanted to be held all the time. She loved being held. She's becoming a little bit more independent, which is really cool to watch. And yeah, I think just what you said, kind of like a little stubborn, kind of like a little ornery. I guess as ornery as they can be at this age, but yeah, okay. What is your favorite thing that she does?
My favorite thing that she does is when you feed her. But when you feed her, sometimes she'll like get her hands up like this and like look up at you, almost like, you know, please, can I have some more? And it's just like the cutest thing to see, even though she's already eating. And it's kind of like the pose that looks like she's going for, and I don't know. I think it's adorable.
Yeah, I really love when she like makes this face and she kind of like scrunches up the bottom half and like gets these big cheeks, and she sticks her tongue out a little bit, and she looks kind of, I don't know, she just looks adorable. But I also love whenever she loves to like tilt her head upside down, and she always will like bring her arms up like this, like she's like she's crossing her arms, like, I don't know, you know those like Russian dancers? Like, that's what I always picture. But is she a good sleeper?
She is such a good sleeper. I honestly think if we didn't wake her up to feed, she might sleep for 8 hours or more.
Probably
overnight.
More.
Yeah.
She already sleeps for like 6 to 7 hours most nights straight, and then we have to wake her up. So.
And then when we do wake her up, you know, we feed her a little bit, and she goes to sleep as she's eating, and then she's out.
Yeah.
For several more hours, or whenever it's time to feed her again. So she is so good.
Sometimes it's kind of hard to get her to go to sleep, especially during the day. But when she's asleep, she usually is really good about staying asleep. So that's really nice. We've been good sleepers since she was born too. So who is she most like? Just from what you can tell right now.
I think she's most like you.
Probably.
Yeah.
The orneriness, the stubbornness, the curiosity, I think, comes from you, probably.
No.
My early prediction, she's like you.
Nah, I think she's like you.
Okay, well, we'll see. What are some things that Rosalia loves to do?
She loves to read books, especially ones that are the high contrast books. I think her favorite color is yellow right now.
Yeah.
She really likes the pages that have a lot of yellow colors on it.
Yeah.
But when we read to her, she gets these big eyes and like staring at the pictures, and it's
she's
really
quiet and intent.
Yeah.
Or not intent, like attentive. Attentive. Yes.
Yeah.
But also, like, there's been some times where she'll kind of like make excited noises, like she's trying to read with me. It doesn't happen very often, but like you can tell she's paying attention.
Yeah.
And she loves it. So yeah, I would say that's one thing. She loves listening to music.
Oh yeah.
As soon as we turn music on, she calms like right down. It doesn't matter what's upsetting her.
Especially piano music.
Yeah.
That's her favorite.
Yeah. What nicknames do you use for her?
Oh, I have a lot. I probably call her my little honey the most.
Yeah. Obviously Rosie. We call her Rosie all the time.
Yeah.
Which we didn't know at first that was going to be... We kind of thought Rose or Rosa, but it's been a lot of Rosie for now. I think maybe just because she's so young.
Yeah.
I think she might grow out of it soon. I call her Rosalie a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like having a longer syllable thing.
Yeah.
But what else do we call her? I call her my little piggy because she's made like pig noises ever since she was born. Just like little like snorting noises, little winking. I'm not like winking, but
I call her little poopy butt a lot.
Yeah.
That's just because that's what she is.
Piggy, my little honey, Rosie. Obviously, those are the ones that we do the most.
Yeah.
What is your favorite memory with her?
Ooh. I think right now my favorite memory is when she first started smiling. There was, I don't remember what exactly I was doing, but I was like playing with her and she started laughing, like genuinely laughing and smiling. And it was so unexpected and so like in the moment.
Yeah.
And I tried to get her to do it again. She wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But
because she still doesn't really smile responsibly very often. So we can't, like, she just smiles when she wants to. We can't kind of, she doesn't perform for us very often.
No, not at all. But I do really like that.
My favorite memory is, often when, like, we pick her up and put her on our shoulder, she, like, has her legs, like, poked straight out and, like, her head is kind of arched and her arms are, like, stiff, and which I think is cute. But my favorite memories are when you pick her up and it's often like when she's been upset or she's been crying or she just woke up. You pick her up and she kind of like hunches into you and wraps her arms around your neck a little bit. And it just feels like I just feel so fulfilled and so loved and so needed in that moment. And I think it's really sweet. So it's happened quite a few times and I love it. How far has she come developmentally up to this point?
I think she's come a long way developmentally. I know there have been a lot of doctors and nurses that have said, typically you'll see a baby of 0 to 3 months learn these things, and they list, they'll
picking their head up off the ground,
their head up,
tracking faces,
smiling when you smile at them, things like that. And I feel like she's done all of those things plus more. She's able to roll from her belly to her back, which when we told our general pediatrician about that, they're like, that's nuts, you know.
Yeah.
And she was doing that within a month.
Yeah, 3 weeks is when she started rolling over. And she doesn't do it as much anymore, but she's working from back to belly already. And she's actually done it a few times successfully with like a little bit of help. Like she can't do it on the flat ground, but if you kind of prop her up under a pillow, she will roll. So I think that counts. But
she almost got it on her own on a flat surface.
Oh yeah, she tries really hard.
Yeah.
She will kind of like get one leg all the way over and her arm kind of is in her way. She's still trying to figure that part out, but yeah, I mean, most babies who are 3 months old can't roll over both ways, and she can. Yeah, she picks her head up. She is amazing. She's been strong since the moment she was born.
Yeah. When she was born, I asked to cut the umbilical cord, and so they handed me the scissors, and when they handed me the scissors, she reached up and grabbed onto the handle of the scissors with me.
Yeah, all the doctors started laughing so hard. They're like, oh, we've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Even though like babies with Down syndrome have low muscle tone, she has had high muscle strength literally from the moment she was born, which I knew she would from the way she was literally destroying the inside of my body. Yeah, she's really strong. She's had amazing head strength ever since she was born. I mean, literally within a few days when we would have her up on our chest, she'd be like picking her head up, looking around, and she's been doing it like if you lay her flat on her belly, she's been picking her head up, moving it side to side for pretty much the whole time. I mean, probably it was before she started rolling over, because that's how she started rolling over. She'd pick her head up and then would just like kind of fling it to the side and her body would follow. So, I mean, within, literally a few days. And it's only gotten like stronger. Like she can hold it up longer. It's more steady. I remember when my grandma held her for the first time, she was like expecting this like little feeble, fragile 2-month-old baby, and I put her in her arms, and my little old grandma was like, she's like 100 pounds, like she's so small, and she kind of put Rosie so her head was by her knees and her feet were by her stomach, and she learned real quick to not do that anymore because Rosie would just like kick her so hard in the stomach. As far as like other types of development, she's definitely more active, like you said earlier. She's a lot more vocal. It took her a while to make any types of like vocalized sounds. Obviously, I was saying she makes like the little pig noises and stuff, but those are breathing noises. So it took a little while for her to make the like vocalized sounds, I guess. But she does a lot now. She does a lot of cooing, a lot of oohs and ahs, and makes G sounds was first, and then some B sounds, and now some D sounds. And she makes little laughing noises sometimes. Even like tracking our faces and making eye contact she started doing within the past month. What is the hardest thing about parenting her?
Whenever she gets really distressed. If she's hungry or has a dirty diaper, or even if she's just tired and refuses to fall asleep, she gets really fussy. But especially whenever she's hungry, she gets really loud and it's really sad.
Yeah. And she doesn't cry often.
No.
So when she does, it's like a little bit more heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I think for me, the first couple months were harder because like now I think it's a lot better, but she used to be very dependent. She needed to be held 24/7, except for at nighttime when she was sleeping. But if she was sleeping during the day or not sleeping during the day, it didn't really matter. She wanted to be held constantly. If you put her down, she'd wake up, she'd start crying. And that was really hard because I felt like I couldn't get anything done, and I would try to like just live in the moment and soak up all of the little baby snuggles, but at some point you're like, okay, but I do need to like eat and shower, and I've been exclusively pumping for her, so I'm like, I can't like hold you, I need to pump so you can eat, and I really stressed myself out over it, but we've kind of moved past that point. She's on a better schedule. With one of her doctors, her feeding team suggested a few things to help us get her more scheduled so she's not eating like every hour or every half hour anymore. And since then it got easier, and then I started weaning myself off pumping, which has made it a lot easier too, because I just don't feel the same stress and the same pressure, and I feel a lot more capable of helping her when she needs help. And she's gained a lot more independence too. She can be awake and lay on her own or whatever, so it's easier now. But at first that was definitely really hard for me, and a lot of it like was my own doing. But how is it different when your baby has Down syndrome?
For me personally, I feel like the biggest difference is in the unknown, and specifically the unknown of what people tell you will be unknown. I honestly think that if no one had told us that she had Down syndrome, that we might not really have known much of a difference.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because it's our first baby.
Right.
But she's also been really good developmentally. She's been really good about pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And even then, we still have heard a lot about, people try to prepare you and they say, oh, well, this could be a hurdle. This could be a problem. This could be something that she will have difficulty with. For the first 3 months, we get to those moments and it's like, okay, well, she doesn't really. She might have a few moments where she doesn't progress as quickly as some people say, but even then she gets there in the normal time frame of anyone,
Yeah.
Even through all that, I think what's different is that people still say, oh, well, there's still this unknown thing, or this can still happen.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the things, with a 3-month-old, she's just a baby, just like any other baby. Some babies do things faster or slower, and there really is no right or wrong way. I think maybe like her developmental pace might be a little bit more obviously different as she gets older. I'm not sure, because right now she's exceeding expectations of everyone, the specialists, her pediatrician. So we feel really good about that. And in that sense, she's not different than any other baby. I know even they projected that she would be really tiny at birth. We switched hospitals because of that, because our original hospital said that they wouldn't be able to care for a baby that was less than 5.5 pounds or something like that. And so we switched to a hospital that had a NICU and had that capability. And then she came out and weighed 8.5 pounds and was a huge baby. So all the things that like doctors have been afraid of, or they're like, oh, this normally happens, or this is a risk of happening, hasn't been an issue for us. Like she's, a good size. Any medical issues she's had, well, I guess I would say they came from like her time in the NICU, but her time in the NICU, I guess, ultimately came from her having Down syndrome. She was born with pulmonary hypertension, and so then she had to be on oxygen and a feeding tube, and so that made it really hard for us to feed her at first. At this point, she's a lot better about it, and she doesn't need oxygen anymore. She doesn't need a feeding tube. So those things kind of stemmed from needing oxygen, but obviously that came from having Down syndrome. But I feel like that's not that abnormal for like a baby to have like one simple complication, and she wasn't in the NICU for very long. And I mean, it could have been anybody's baby, it could have been anything. Really the only difference has been the plethora of doctor's appointments, and most of it is because of their concern, not because she actually needs it. So as far as like actually her in herself and in her personality, she's literally just like any other baby. But as far as our end of being her parents, in the first couple months especially, we would have at least one appointment every week, sometimes 3 appointments every week, sometimes more than one in one single day. So that was really hard at first, but even that is starting to normalize at this point, which we're really grateful for. But yeah, again, a lot of those appointments are just more out of what could happen and concern of those types of things. But if we could go back and talk to ourselves when we first got the diagnosis, I think past us would be shocked because we were so scared of so many things. And a lot of that actually came from ignorance of knowing what Down syndrome really was and how it affects people. And I mean, sometimes we even think like, oh, maybe she like has mosaic Down syndrome because it's so unnoticeable, really. I mean, even when I look at her, I don't see her and look and see like a baby with Down syndrome. I just see my daughter. Rosalia, if you're watching this one day, we want you to know that you're amazing and you're perfect, and we love you right now at this stage, and we look forward to watching you grow and develop even more. And we're so thankful that we're your parents. We love you a lot.
Love you.
All right, well, I guess we'll end it here then.
How do you normally end these things?
I don't know. Just say, okay, bye.
Okay, bye.